G'day, and thanks for clicking on my video. Welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you're already subscribed.
G'day, and welcome to G'day Crochet. I'm Trish. In today's episode of Tips and Tricks, we're starting right at the beginning. So today I will be sharing some essential tips for beginners who are just learning to start out with crochet and joining the crochet community. Now, when I first started crocheting, I wish someone had told me these few things that just would have made my process just that little bit easier. So let's jump into it. First, we're going to choose the right yarn and hook for the project. But first, we've got to decide on the project. And why do you say we have to start on the project? Well, because sometimes the project that you want to make, like, for example, a pot holder. Now, if you were to use acrylic yarn for a pot holder, it would melt, the same as polyester. So an example of these yarns is this. This is 100% acrylic. So if I was to put a hot saucepan or something on that, it would just melt and make a good mess. So, whereas if you were to use something like a plant-based, like bamboo, that's not going to melt. So you can use bamboo or you can use cotton. So, and that's for your hot things. So if you're wanting to make wearables, you can use acrylic or polyester, nylon, wool, etc. Once you've decided on what you're going to make, you will then, we're just going to use this beautiful pink for an example. You're then going to check the yarn label for the recommended hook size. Now, you'll see here, there's lots of information there. So this one here, it actually says it's machine washable. Here it's got like a little 40 degrees. So that's the hottest you can go, is 40 degrees. And you can't iron it because it will melt. And I think that one you can't bleach it. And I have to get my chart. So I will put all of these rather here or here. That's why there's a lot of space today. That's why I'm sitting right back, so I can add space so you can see what I'm talking about. So just there, that's the knitting needle size. So that's saying a 4mm knitting needle. And this here is 22 stitches and 30 rows should give you a 10cm square. Now, or if you do it and it's like the one I've got up here, where it's too big. So normally I would use a 3mm, but I will get to them later on. Another thing, when you're buying the yarn, your pattern will tell you how much yarn you're going to need. So just here, sorry if that like jump scared you. So this is 100 grams and 250 meters. Now, if you're in the US and are still on inches and ounces, your yarn will come up in that. So this one here, so this one says Superb 8. So this is an 8-ply yarn. And another important thing to look out for is this little section. So that's your dye lot. So you want to pay attention to that, because sometimes it can be a different shade. So you can get it and go, oh, neon pink, yes, I need 6 balls of that. And you get home and they're all different shades of neon pink because the dye lot's different. If you use the 4mm hook and your tension is too loose, it's going to be a bigger square. And the same as if your tension is tighter. So what you do in that situation, rather than spending hours and hours getting it right, you then just go up a hook size if your tension's too tight. So if you do 22 stitches across and the 30 rows, and say it comes to 8 centimeters, maybe try and go up a hook size maybe. So some examples would be a wearable. So this here is, I haven't blocked it, a gauge swatch, which is 22 stitches across and 30 rows. Now this is meant to equal 10 centimeters. So grabbing my tape measure, I'm going to measure across, and mine is 12 centimeters across by 12 centimeters high. So like, that's really not too bad. My tension's getting a lot better to what it used to be. And that was using the recommended 4mm hook. Now, I have had to order some hooks because I think my tension should technically be a 3mm. But not only do you have to pay attention to the stitches across, but the rows up. So recently I've learnt yarn over and yarn under. So, and I'll just get to that bit a bit after. So that one's using a 4mm hook. And say that was a jumper, and because that's bigger, it would be too big. So it'd just be really baggy and really hard. Like, it'd be soft and pliable, like, but yeah, it'd just be too big and baggy. And so this one is a lot more dense, and I used a 2.5. Now I think I should have used a 3 because the 2.5 was really hard on my hands. Now I managed to get the 22 stitches across to get 10 centimeters, but I've only done 29 rows and it's already past 10 centimeters, as you can see. That's not a square, that's a rectangle. So that's already 12 centimeters tall, or 11. Hang on, I haven't measured that right. For the orange one, it is already at, remember, it's only 29 rows, 10.5. But that's only 29 rows. But it's the 10 centimeters across. So in that situation, depending on your pattern, you could do yarn under. But some patterns don't really require a gauge, I've noticed. Another one is, we're going to bring out Mr. Ted again. So here's Mr. Ted. He's nice and holy. You can see all his stuffing. You can fit your fingers in. So he's really loved and stretched out, and yeah. And the ends, I tried weaving them in, and like there. All right. So that was using the hook size that the lady recommended, and my tension was so loose that that's how he turned out. He probably wasn't that stretched when I first had him, but over the time everything's relaxed, and that's how he looks now. But then I went and I made this guy. Well, this girl. She's my little hippopotamus because I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Yeah. And if you look closely, she's well stuffed and you can't see her stuffing. So, but yeah, she's just beautiful. Like, just here you can see where I've pulled the yarn through a bit too tight. But yeah, and I've just got a little ornament because I'm going to hang her on my Christmas tree. So, and she's done in yarn under. So I don't know if you can tell. They're a bit more square. So, and the same with Angelina. I've done her really tight. So, like, there's not much squishiness. And she's a lot older than the hippopotamus. He's not as stuffed because he's just going to hang on my Christmas tree. It's just going to be a tree ornament. But she was originally made for the markets, but I decided I'm going to keep her because I just love it. So, yeah, like even her tail's got a little curl like a mouse, and I've just done a really good job, I reckon, of her. Like, don't get me wrong, if you look at the back of her head, I could have closed her up a bit tidier. Like, I'm not perfect, but I'm getting there. So, another thing I think I should mention, when doing like your little gauge swatch or whatever you're working on, if you ever lose count, I'll insert a video that I did while I was making this one, and that is how to count your rows. Well, how I count mine. I don't know if it's correct, but it's just how I keep track of my rows. So, I've come across a tip to show you. So, working on a swatch, all right, now I lost count of my rows. So, what I do is I grab a darning needle or something, and I've got my ring light, and I'm not sure. See all those little things? Anyway, yep, you can see that. Right, so there's row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, row 6, row 7, row 8, row 9, row 10, row 11, row 12, row 13, row 14, row 15, row 16, and I just did row 17. So, just so you're aware, that is row 17. So it sort of goes there, then there, then there, then there, then there, then there, then there. All right, so just like a little zigzag of the holes, because what it is you've got right side, wrong side, right side, wrong side, and yeah. So this is my correct tension one. The thing you could do is at the end of every row you can put a stitch marker here, and here's another stitch marker, so you can put one there and then the next one goes up one, sort of thing. And so what you do is you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you keep doing that if you really want to do it that way. Or maybe even a scrap bit of yarn, run it up through, but just remember that you'll only see it on one side at a time. So you count on that side that you can see, and then you count on that side that you can see, and that's how many rows you've got. So that's how I do it. I think that's all I'm going to put in for today's tips and tricks. So this is really hard to do. Oh, I need a drink. But yeah. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 15, 16 rows. All right, I'm terrible at maths. So any family watching, don't worry. All right. And any kids watching, go to school. All right, go to school. Yeah. So that's how. Thank you so much for watching. Like, follow, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.